What's up guys, it's Tom here and Alexander Isak. Welcome to Liverpool. This is the official announcement video, of course, on transfer deadline day. Liverpool have pulled another rabbit out of the hat like the magicians they are. I think for the last 25 years, Liverpool haven't signed a world-class player in their prime, which means that they are 24, 25 years old and already world-class, because I don't consider Thiago to be in his prime. I think he was past his prime when we signed him, but Thiago was the last truly world-class player that Liverpool signed, and not a player who became world-class at Liverpool. And now, for the first time in 25 years, we signed Florian Wirtz, and now for the second time in a month or 2 months, we signed another world-class player in his prime. Alexander Isak joins Liverpool for £125 million, and Newcastle in total get £130 million because Alexander Isak submitted an official request for a transfer, so he doesn't get the £5 million of loyalty bonus that he would get if he didn't submit an official request to move away from Newcastle. And David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, Paul Joyce, James Pearce, all the reliable journalists have reported that Liverpool have reached an agreement to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle. The news broke last night, during the night, and I was so happy when I saw it. And also, Alexander Isak is already in Liverpool at the AXA training ground, undergoing his medical right now as I'm recording this video. And the deal is still worth £130 million according to David Ornstein to Newcastle due to the solidarity replacements, and it will cost Liverpool £125 million, which is a new Premier League record, surpassing Chelsea's £106 million transfer of Enzo Fernandez. That was the Premier League record before. And then we've smashed it with Florian Wirtz, because with the bonuses, Florian Wirtz's transfer is worth £116 million. And now this is smashing even that, £125 million, and it's absolutely amazing. And I think what made this transfer possible is Newcastle finally got the Voltemade over the line a few days ago, and today they have signed Yohan Wissa. That move is only subject to a medical. They agreed a £55 million deal for Wissa and an £80 million deal for Voltemade. So they basically already spent the Isak money on the two strikers to replace Isak. And I think Isak being absolutely 100% clear and adamant that he will never play for Newcastle again actually changed Newcastle's mind, because they didn't want to sell him really, and Isak going on strike made this possible. And of course Liverpool now signed Hugo Ekitike for around 70 million, and now Isak for 125 million. What a transfer window! This is a 10 out of 10 transfer window, even if Liverpool don't sign Mark Guehi, but there is movement on that deal as well, which I will update you guys on the latest on the Mark Guehi transfer situation in this video as well. So it's absolutely sensational transfer dealings from Liverpool's point of view, and David Ornstein has been very reliable reporting on this transfer throughout the whole summer. So how are you feeling? Let me know in the comments below, and smash the hell out of the like button if you are as excited as I am, because Liverpool are already Premier League champions, but we signed Mamadashvili, Frimpong, Kerkez, Florian Wirtz, Ekitike, and now Isak, and potentially Mark Guehi. This is an absolutely dream 10 out of 10 transfer window, and I want to hear, how does Trent Alexander feel right now? I would love to be a fly on the wall when they discuss this privately. Trent Alexander left Liverpool for Real Madrid. Now he's out of the Real Madrid team. He's out of the England squad, and watching on, he watches Liverpool build a super team, which I don't think we have ever seen anything like this. Liverpool are not usually a club who signs ready-made world-class players, but because we have been run so self-sufficiently and so smartly by FSG and everybody who is responsible for Liverpool's finances. This is Liverpool spending their own money. This is not a Saudi state or a Qatari state or a United Arab Emirates state or a Russian oligarch injecting money into Liverpool. This is Liverpool's own earned money through very smart investing and very smart player sales. Liverpool have generated this amount of money that they are spending right now, which is absolutely sensational. David Ornstein also reported that Yoane Wissa is going to Newcastle United for £55 million. And Yoane Wissa has arrived at Newcastle's training ground to get a medical done and to sign a 4-year deal. Alexander Isak will sign a 6-year deal at Liverpool, which is absolutely sensational. Alexander Isak has been in the area next to Liverpool in the last 2 days, sorting contracts and also housing property out. And he also has gone to his barber to get a fresh trim for the Liverpool announcement video. I don't expect Isak to start after the international break against Burnley, but this will be a good opportunity, of course, for him to get his match fitness up during the international break, playing for Sweden. And then, probably Alexander Isak will be as a substitute used in the Burnley game. And after that, we play Atletico Madrid and Everton at home. So his Anfield debut could be coming against Atletico in the Champions League or against Everton in the Merseyside derby. And I'm already rubbing my hands like this. I cannot wait for Alexander Isak to pull on the famous Liverpool shirt and to bang in goals. Yes, I know that his injury record is not squeaky clean, but that's why we have Ekitike, that's why we have Chiesa, Gakpo, even Florian Wirtz. They can all play false 9. And also sometimes Ekitike and Isak will play together. Sometimes only one of them will start up front and the other will be rested. So I think this is a very, very sensible move for Liverpool. And now the big question, will Liverpool sell Harvey Elliott now that Isak is coming in? And the Newcastle journalist Luke Edwards has said that let's not sugarcoat things either. Wissa has behaved just as badly as Isak to force this move. And Newcastle buckled under the pressure after months of saying that they wouldn't buckle under the pressure and that they wouldn't sell Isak under any circumstances unless the £150 million transfer fee is met or unless they sign proper replacements for Isak and Callum Wilson. I mean, you could say that Voltemade is the Isak replacement and Yoane Wissa is the Callum Wilson replacement. Of course, they are not the same caliber of players, but Newcastle can only blame themselves. They could have sorted this out weeks ago and they dropped points in all 3 of their Premier League games because of having no strikers. That's Newcastle's own fault, because they could have sold Isak earlier, they could have signed Voltemade earlier, they could have signed Yoane Wissa probably earlier if they just paid closer to Brentford's asking price. And the Newcastle journalist Luke Edwards is very scathing in his comments, saying that Newcastle weakened themselves and directly strengthened a domestic rival. They look small-time, weak, a club that rolled over with the owners, Saudi owners, who crumbled under the pressure. That is on the PIF. They are the ones in control, they are the ones who have the final say, they are the ones who insisted Isak was not for sale all summer and then sold him anyway. There was a plan at Newcastle this summer to keep Isak. There was strength and defiance, a determination not to be bullied by Liverpool, by the player or his agent. The plan was to dig and resist and, if necessary, keep their star striker against his will. They knew if Isak forced his way out, others would be likely to follow. All summer this plan played out exactly as Newcastle were expecting. They knew Isak was keen to leave and they did not care. They knew there would be all sorts of dirty tricks played to unsettle him with the intention of lowering their £150 million asking price, but they vowed to hold the line. They did all of that right up until the moment they did not. They buckled under pressure and made themselves look foolish. They have been put in their place. They lost and Liverpool won. I mean, if Newcastle want to be the best team, then and they want to win silverware, to challenge silverware, they must plan better and they must execute their transfers better because they missed out on like 9 or 10 transfer targets when it comes to strikers all summer. And I think Liverpool knew that they would crumble under the pressure because they could have lost out on a lot of money if they kept Isak, and Isak doesn't play for Newcastle until January. Can you imagine? And also the questions about Isak all throughout the season, it would have been too much. And also an important message for the Liverpool fans that they should back Isak from the first minute he walks through the door, because Isak put his life on the line to get this move. He had the Newcastle fans, the Geordies, threatening to make him rot in the cells at the training ground. They had journalists writing articles to target abuse at him, and they had PIF trying to force him to play to play again, but Isak didn't crumble under the pressure. So Liverpool should give their unconditional support to Alexander Isak. And now, the latest news is that Crystal Palace have prepared a goodbye video for Mark Guéhi. The deal still hangs in the balance, but the media team have prepared his departure content just in case. And also, Italian journalist Luca Bandoni is saying that AC Milan are walking away from the Joe Gomez deal, as they have not received authorization for Gomez to travel yet. The agreement was in place and the centre-back was ready to join the club, but the deal, it looks like, is now off, because it depends on Liverpool signing Mark Guehi, and it looks like the Crystal Palace owner, Steve Parish, has to choose between getting 35 to 40 million pounds from the deal of selling Mark Guehi and upsetting his manager, or keeping Guehi, losing out on 35 to 40 million pounds, but making his manager, Steve Parish, happy. And also, with today the breaking news, Leverkusen sacked Erik ten Hag, or should I say Eric 10 weeks at Leverkusen after literally like 2 Bundesliga games. Leverkusen sacked their manager Erik ten Hag, so Oliver Glasner could threaten to walk away from Crystal Palace and go to Leverkusen if they sell Mark Guehi. Looks like Crystal Palace are signing Igor on loan from Brighton, who is a centre-back, but this Igor transfer is not related to Mark Guehi's transfer to Liverpool. I'm not sure why, because he's a centre-back, but it looks like Crystal Palace need more than just Igor to sell Mark Guehi. So it's a very tricky situation. I think this is down to the Crystal Palace manager being very strong and basically threatening the Crystal Palace owner, which is a very unusual situation, but he's threatening the owner: if you sell Mark Guehi against my wishes, then I could walk away from your club. And Crystal Palace have achieved their best year, their biggest success in their entire history, winning the FA Cup, winning the Community Shield. Basically, Oliver Glasner is a god among Crystal Palace fans. So the Crystal Palace fans will be very angry at the owner making Oliver Glasner, the Crystal Palace manager, walk away from the club, their best manager in their history. Can you imagine a few months after winning the FA Cup if he walked away from Crystal Palace because they sold Mark Guehi against his wishes? So I can understand that. And I think Liverpool are fine if we keep Joe Gomez and Leone, even though Leone is too young, Gomez is too injury prone to be proper backups to Konate and Van Dijk. I think Liverpool will keep pushing for the Mark Guehi deal, but that's not certain to happen. The Alexander Isak transfer is very likely to happen, but this Mark Guehi stuff is very, very contentious at the moment. It's a 50-50. I can't really predict whether that move will go through or not. Also, Isak's family could fly to Liverpool today, because a private jet has just been scheduled to fly from Antwerp, Belgium, where Isak's agent lives, to Stockholm, Sweden, where Isak's family live, and then that private jet is scheduled to fly to Liverpool. Could be that the agent has sent the jet to pick them up and he will travel alone this morning to be with Isak. It's a very, very interesting development. And Oliver Glasner, the Crystal Palace manager, is not happy about the Mark Guehi situation, and he has made the owners aware. The owners are not going to care when it's a matter of getting 40 million or getting nothing. Glasner doesn't have a lot of say in this, but Crystal Palace owner also doesn't really want to upset his manager too much. So the big question is, will the owners of Crystal Palace allow Glasner, the manager, to have a say in transfers? Because usually the owners decide, or the sporting director decides the transfers, but in this instance, because Oliver Glasner is such a god at Crystal Palace, it's a tricky situation. So that's why you see that this Mark Guehi transfer is not guaranteed to happen, even though Mark Guehi wants to play for Liverpool, and he scored a sensational goal yesterday as Crystal Palace beat Aston Villa 3-0 away from home, and Mark Guehi was an absolute monster. And he was pushed to go to the fans to say goodbye by his teammates, even though he didn't really want to do it. I'm not sure why. Maybe because he's still undecided whether he will stay at Crystal Palace or leave. And also, an Arsenal fan said, I don't condemn Liverpool for this enormous spend like other fans. Quite the contrary. They are absolutely entitled to spend like this because they have worked so hard to increase their own income and to run their club well. They did it the right way, no cheating. But Liverpool fans have to dispel the notion that they deliver on the cheap. It's always been bollocks, but this really should put that nonsense to rest. They will probably be top 4 wage spenders in the world now, and their squad cost will only be behind Man City and Chelsea in terms of how much it cost. So good for Liverpool. Don't give, of course, Liverpool fans shouldn't say we are underdogs anymore. We are not. But we are a very well-run club, and that's why we can spend £417 million in this summer transfer window alone. And this is what we all wanted as Liverpool fans. So hats off to the owners, FSG. I criticized them many times before, but now I really tip my hat to them and I applaud them because they have absolutely nailed this transfer window. And huge credit to Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes, people who FSG put in charge. So credit to FSG and credit to these guys as well. What a transfer window, man. What a time to be alive as a Liverpool fan. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.